So I met with a virtual assistant this morning,
Okay.
Maria.
Maria. Oh, yeah. Maria's great.
She's awesome, right? And we were having this lengthy conversation, right? Because she's like, I started working as an administrative assistant, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
whatever it was, right? And she's like, and then we took this virtual assistant training, and there used to be like a bunch of us that used to have these town halls and meet.
Mhm.
And she's like, it's down to being like 20 or 30 of us.
Okay.
And I was having this conversation with her, and she was explaining to me like all the things that she does and what a virtual assistant really does, and the follow-ups and the reminders and like keeping the business owner kind of on track, making sure stuff doesn't get missed. And um really like 90% of the work that she does is the stuff that you do with a CRM system,
Okay.
right? Like, so she says
I can see that.
we live and die by the calendar, right?
Mhm.
Which I totally get. Because they have to see what you have going on. They have to see what you have upcoming. They are the ones that go in and check, your last week and go, hey, this meeting you had on Thursday, is there any follow-up required on that? Right? Like,
Right.
and I was thinking about it as I was talking to her about the CRM systems and stuff like that. And I'm like, so a lot of the stuff that you do, the CRM system can take care of probably 80% of it, right?
Mhm.
But the other 20% that the CRM system generally will not do, like the CRM system doesn't ask the question, hey, was this meeting from last Wednesday something we had to follow up on?
Yeah. Is there more to it after? Right.
Correct,
Yeah.
right? Like you can set a reminder, like you can set it up so that it reminds you a week after every meeting to review the meeting.
Mhm.
But it's still one of those things that often gets
Because it
overlooked.
doesn't understand sometimes the nuances of the conversation, and it
Correct.
doesn't notice that certain words mean contact me again in a few
Yes.
days.
Right.
Right.
So it was interesting having this conversation with her because it kind of made me realize how many people, because I've always said, one of your first hires should be a bookkeeper, right? Like I've said that for,
Yeah, I can see that.
right? After really talking to the virtual assistant and having this conversation with her, I've changed my mind. The first person you hire should be a virtual assistant.
A virtual or an assistant?
Either
Either
or,
or. Okay.
either or.
Okay. So
Like
an
when you're,
assistant, but it can be
yeah,
virtually.
it could be a
Yeah.
virtual assistant, right? But you have to find a good one, right? Because there's something we always talk about with our clients is follow-ups, for example.
Yeah.
You go out, you give a quote, whatever, and it's the question of, well, how long do you follow up for? Right. And
Right.
the answer is either till the client signs with someone else or signs
Right.
with you.
Right.
Right. Like that's when the follow up stops. But most business owners, most small business owners only follow up for about 7 to 10 days and then it dies off. Right. Now, CRM systems can do the follow up longer than that and you can automate the
Okay. So
process.
let's talk a little more about that.
Yeah.
So explain what a CRM is to somebody.
So it is a customer relationship manager.
Right.
Right. So it is the central hub where you have all of the information about every single person you communicate with. And I say communicate with because it's not just customers. Like you could have partners in there, you could have vendors in there, right? And then that's basically where you manage all of your time, all of your communication. It becomes this centralized hub where I can now go in and look up when is the last time someone called John, right? Or when is the last time John called us? Because we haven't heard from John in a while.
Right.
Like we should have heard from him by now, and I can go in and see, right? So it's just a platform that centralizes all the important information in communication with outside people. Can
Okay.
even do it with inside people, right? But primarily it's to track the outside. And one of the things that got to me, what she was saying was that whole that we live by the calendar, because the calendar is what controls your schedule. It's what controls your follow-ups. It controls what needs to be done. It controls what meetings you can take. And I was like, I'd never thought about it from that perspective, right? Like I knew the calendar was important, but when you talk to a virtual assistant, they just prioritize it completely differently.
Yeah.
Right. So I am going to back out of the don't hire a bookkeeper first. I'm being dead
No,
serious
I
because
understand.
I can tell you there are hundreds of thousands of dollars being lost every month because someone followed up one day too short,
Yeah.
right? Because they got busy with other stuff and they forgot to follow up on that email
Oh,
they
I'm
sent a week
I'm
ago,
just as guilty of that.
right?
I mean, until
From
I got an assistant, it was one of the hardest things in the
yeah,
world because you start off small. Usually, you start off small, and it's you, 3 or 4 clients, no
mhm,
big deal. Okay, you don't need an assistant just yet. But once you start getting 2 or 3 calls a day
mhm,
from new potential clients, right? Or heck, 5 a week, 5 new calls a week from
yeah,
potential clients. You better start thinking about an assistant, whether it's virtual or full time,
oh yeah,
because you're going to forget because
correct,
you're there doing the work. You're also the ones that's doing the job,
hmm
the work, etc. And deadlines come up, and existing customers need things, and you're not going to
yeah,
remember. Oh, I forgot. Bob called and he needed this, and by the time you do
hmm
remember, he's already
yeah.
hired somebody else.
The perfect example she gave was the window cleaner,
Yeah,
right? So he would book an appointment a month out, right? Um, but never followed up, never sent the notification, hey, remember, we're going to be there in 3 days.
right,
Remember, we're going to be there tomorrow. And she asked him flat out, like, how many jobs have you shown up to when there was nobody home?
right.
And they go, that happens more often than we'd like to admit. And I'm
Yeah,
like, that's a full day of lost revenue.
yep,
You could have paid your entire month for that virtual assistant from that one job,
yeah.
probably, right? So if it happens twice a month, that's it. Twice a
Yeah,
month,
that's a good point
you have
because
justified the
it's
expense.
not just your side of things, meaning that, hey, make sure you follow up people, but also confirming
Hmm
that you're actually going to do the job.
Correct. Right? Like letting people know you're
I
showing
can't
up,
tell you how
right?
many times people don't show up here, even after confirming still,
Oh
but
yeah.
how many times people don't show up
Oh
to a
yeah.
meeting?
It,
Yeah. They'll
yeah, yeah.
confirm the day before and then that day, and they just never hear from them again.
Correct.
That
Like
does happen too.
it's weird, right? But
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why I'm now on the side of probably an assistant or a virtual assistant. If they can do bookkeeping,
Right.
great. But that's not the primary reason. It's to regather that potential lost revenue. Um, because like once again, if you don't follow up long enough, if you don't let them know you're coming, you lose one or two jobs. Like, and for some, like it could be a multi-thousand-dollar job,
Yeah.
right? Like it could be $2,000 or $3,000 just gone. Why? Because you forgot to remind the client you were coming that day, right? Now, what do you do? Do you charge the client like a fee?
Yeah.
Like it
You'll never hear from them
was it
again.
their responsibility to
Right.
remember to be home,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just fascinating. But yeah, so when she said that, it just kind of reaffirmed to me why CRM systems are so important. But the reason I got to that point in the conversation with her was because that's what virtual assistants used to do. They used to basically be a human CRM system.
Right.
They would monitor your calendar, they would monitor your email, they would monitor
Right.
everything, and they were kind of staying on top. CRM system automated some of that. What I realized with her is even if you have a CRM system, you need someone that understands what an assistant is and the
Hmm?
processes that they need to use. So even with a CRM system, having an assistant is probably worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. Look, if nothing else, your assistant will be the keeper of your calendar, which
Hmm
is 90% of the
It's not,
job when you're running a business, quite frankly. It really is.
yeah.
There's a billion tasks that have to be done. And sometimes they have to be done in order, sometimes they have to be done by a certain period, etc. And having someone who's quite frankly, their sole responsibility is to make sure the calendar is updated and you know where you need to be and when you need to be there or what needs to be worked on and when it needs to be done. That is, like you said, is worth its weight in gold. It really is. It can make or break a business,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
It really can.
absolutely.
And quite frankly, if you're like me, you have a lot of business things and a lot of personal things too. That assistant can help you with both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure your personal calendar is up to date
Like
as well.
it was funny because as I'm talking to her, I'm approving a meeting via an email,
Yeah,
right? Like I'd been waiting on this.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, that date works. I walk out of there and realize I just double booked.
Hmm.
Now I have to go back to the guy
Yeah.
and be like, hey, sorry.
How often do I do that?
Right? Like but I hate doing
I
it, right?
know.
Um, but a virtual assistant would literally go in and double check everything for you before approving the meeting, or suggest, hey, or call you and be like, hey, Joe wants a meeting at 11. You
Yeah.
have a 10:30. Is that going to be enough time?
Yeah.
Do you need a break in between the meetings? How do you want me to schedule it, right? And everybody goes, oh, but that's easy. I can handle all that stuff myself. Yeah. Do that when you have 35 meetings in a week,
Yeah. Right.
right? Do that when you have 35 meetings, a golf outing, a networking event, a social mixer for school,
And
right?
employees.
And employees and things to deal with in
Right.
between the, like, it adds up so quickly, right? So the sooner you get someone, like, I think you should get a virtual assistant the day you get a CRM system,
Okay.
because the virtual assistant theoretically has the most understanding of all the assistant processes
Mhm.
and all of those things, and they can literally help you set it up in an optimal way, right? So think of them as more than just virtual assistants. Think of them as the keepers of the CRM system, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it was eye opening. It's not often that I have conversations with someone that changed my perspective on certain
I know
things,
you
right?
know it all, man. You know everything.
No, I'm just stubborn, and I
No,
can
it's very
admit
cool.
it.
No, it's absolutely true. And it's something that I've looked into several times, whether to go with a virtual assistant or an in-house
Hmm.
assistant. And I've always leaned toward the in-house assistant, but sometimes the virtual assistant's the way to go, because it initially it sounds like, well, they have a lot of clients, they're not gonna have a lot of time for me. They're so specialized in their field that they can juggle 10 clients and have no
Oh yeah,
problem, right?
yeah,
Whereas sometimes the in-house assistant, you're struggling to see, why is it on my calendar? Why didn't I know about that meeting? Sometimes
yeah.
those things happen. So, no, I kind of like the idea of whether it's, again, in-house or virtual, get an assistant, something you need. And a virtual assistant will cost you significantly less in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cost you way
But
less.
I would go with someone like, so you can, virtual assistants are available worldwide, right? Like you could go hire someone right now in the Philippines,
Yeah.
$10 an hour, right? Not a problem. Or you could find someone local with experience and pay a little bit more. I will put money on that the local experienced person that will call you, that'll set up that Monday morning meeting at 9 a.m.
Hmm.
every week, call you to go over the things for the week, is going to be worth far more than the one you can get
Yeah.
less expensive, especially if they've been doing it for years. They understand the CRM systems. They're getting to know you. They're getting to know your priorities. Like it's like a hire without being a hire
It
per
really,
se,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So, no, that's great. It's great advice, man. I like that. Again, one other thing we have not really touched on in this
No,
podcast. All
dude,
right.
this is why this podcast is never ending,
Oh
because
no, there's always something. There's
always something about
new. It
business.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Doesn't matter what you say. Don't care how long you've been in business.
Nope.
There's always something new
And the
going
other
on.
thing I talked to her about today is when to say no to a new client.
Oh yeah. When
Yeah.
when do you say no?
When you see red
Yeah.
flags, don't ignore them. The
Right?
money
How many
is
people do that?
the
All
money
they're looking at is the green. They look
what
at the money. That's it.
no, whatever money they're offering,
It's not worth it.
if
It's not worth it.
everything in your gut is saying no,
Right?
like I just had one of those calls this morning, and I'm like, I think you would be better off with a local marketing company where you live, right? Like, could we do the work that he's asking for? Yes.
Yeah.
Would I be willing to? Probably. Just it wasn't vibing quite right for me. So I was like, let me send him to someone local. If the local company doesn't work out, I told him, you can feel free to reach back out.
Mhm.
But I'm like, I recommend you go with the local guy, right? Which is
I,
a
I've
good,
done that before. I've told plenty of people, probably 3 or 4 this year alone, where it's been like, hey, I hear what you're saying. I understand. And
Mhm,
the excuse will either be, I'm booked up right now. I still have time to take on
mhm,
new clients. Or sometimes I'll be like, that's not my expertise. I don't
yep.
really do that.
Oh yeah.
Let me give you or somebody else or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's you turn them down in a nice way
Yeah.
so you don't end the relationship.
Right.
You just make sure you don't get them as a client right then and there.
Yeah.
Because I
And let me tell you why, honestly, and you've kind of alluded to this. That client it looks like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to get a client, especially when you're starting out, I'm going to get a client, I'll get some money. They will drain you, whether emotionally, mentally, physically, or financially. They will drain you. And I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose. Sometimes they do, but most of the time it's not on purpose. It's just a personality conflict. It just won't work. I had a lady contact me once, and she had some litigation. Now, I had just gotten out of litigation, so I wasn't going to do it anyway. But she was telling me exactly how she wanted me to do this, that, or the other, and I was like, well, unfortunately, I'm not in litigation anymore. So, but I'm thinking to myself, you're not going to tell me how to do my job. And I can tell that if I didn't do it exactly how she wanted, I was going to be the bad guy,
Whether that was the right or wrong
exactly.
move, right?
And then, of course, if it didn't work, why didn't you do it? It's my fault. Exactly. Why didn't you do it? You're the professional here. Why are you listening to me? But if it did work, and it was all, she gets all the credit. It's just.
Oh, and then it becomes well.
Why are you billing me so much?
Exactly.
Right.
Right. Like it's a lose-lose.
There's no winning. Sometimes there's just that personality conflict where you can't win.
I have that. That's always been my guiding theory when picking and choosing whether it's a vendor, a customer, is that if it's not a win-win for both of us, then it's probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Like it has to be a win-win when it's a business relationship.
Has to be. Yeah.
If you found this clip interesting, make sure to go listen to the full podcast. There's lots more content there.